Tonight, we ride, not in a DeLorean, not through time, but straight into muddy fields, dodgy taverns, and what feels like a weekend at a medieval reenactment fair. But all in the best possible way, because we're talking season 1 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and I demand a trial by 7. But that means we probably need to add 3 more people because there's only 4 of us, so that doesn't work. Yes, basically the smaller, scrappier, surprisingly heartfelt, and funnier cousin to Game of Thrones, where the politics are quieter, the swords are still sharp, and the vibes are basically a tall guy wants to be a knight, and a small bald child go on the road seeking fame and fortune. And joining me on this noble quest are the finest knights of the realm, Sir David of the Night Cradle, Oathbound Father and Dread Warden, a sworn knight of horror and sleepless nights, battling demons on screen and nappies at dawn, speaks softly of terror, screams loudly at jump scares, and refuses to follow Lady Marie into her latest obsession, declaring it too much, even for the gods. We then have Lady Marie, the bannered obsessive.
Sorry, I'm not a knight.
Bit of sexism
going
on
there,
Neil.
I knew this was going to come up. Just wait. The bannered obsessive, she who chooses and will not let go. Once she pledges her heart to her tail, she will ride for it until the realm bends the knee. Bearer of the rainbow standard, wielder of passion until excess, when she loves a show, it becomes law. When she hates one, it's declared heresy, and she once hate-watched rivals. Sadly missing from this tourney this day, but as I wrote his intro, I'm still going to read it. Sir Jose, agent of vibes, chaos knight of the hot take. A knight powered entirely by bad timing and bad decisions under the auspices of honour. Arrives late and drops a take so incendiary it sets the tavern on fire, then leans back to enjoy the carnage. Feeds on rivalry, lives for escalation, and would absolutely start a blood feud by saying Sinners isn't an S-tier film. However, Jose still hasn't returned from his latest campaign, so he's either face down in a tavern, or as he said to not put, face down in a wench. Honestly, he told me to say that, not me. That was Jose. And finally, we are joined by Sir Luke, the red-bearded reader of The Quiet Watch. A thoughtful knight who carries books where others carry blades. Speaks less, but when he does, the realm listens. Chooses stories that breaks hearts and then mends them again. Likely to recommend a tale so devastating it becomes legend, and then apologises for it. And I am Sir Neil, the law-burdened keeper of forgotten truths of the House Encyclopaedia. A knight who has seen every tale, read every scroll, and yet cannot remember where I put my fucking helm. I swing my sword like I swing takes, relentlessly, accurately, and without mercy. The realm both fears and needs me. And with that, Knights of the Realm, tell me your initial non-spoiler thoughts on A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Sir Marie.
Oh, now I'm Sir. I was about to say there's some
Knighted
blatant sexism
now.
there.
On the fly.
Yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised. I did not expect it to be this good. And also, Game of Thrones is funny again. Like, this is something that we mentioned. I think David even brought this up in our House of the Dragon review, where, like, David pointed out, like, Game of Thrones was funny. And we're like, oh, yeah, it was. And that was completely lost in House of the Dragon. And here it's back in full swing.
So to speak. There's lots of stuff swinging around in this.
Oh God, yeah, it's episode 2. Almost took a man's
My
eye out.
screen froze at that exact moment. Jesus, that dude was hung like a tree.
It did. Yeah. Yes. Sir David.
I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved how gritty it was. I loved how down to earth it was. I loved how it told a small scale story, but with large scale implications. I really enjoyed it. Big time.
And Sir Luke.
I'm going to be controversial and say I think this is probably one of the best things Game of Thrones has done for a very long time.
Okay,
that isn't controversial.
I thought you were going to say you weren't going to like it.
Yeah.
It feels controversial because I think having shorter episodes, like 30 to 25-minute episodes, works for not just this show, but in Game of Thrones, because I've started rewatching Game of Thrones again. And you don't realise how long an episode is and how long it takes to actually get anywhere. And it's just nice to watch something like this, where it's quick, it's sharp, it's funny, it's gory, it's Game of Thrones, but it doesn't linger too long. It's like, look, we're getting the story, we get the characters, next episode. And this is one of them shows that you can watch one at a time, or you can binge it, and either way, you would still be pleased, and it gets better as the sort of season goes on.
Yeah, I mean, I was week to week with it. I loved it. I mean, exactly what Marie and David have both said so far. It's the smallness of scale and just a sharp focus on just a couple of characters that made it really good. And it was so funny. It was fun and funny. Like, it was enjoyable to watch because it was also funny. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And I think like Marie, I was surprisingly enjoyed it because I was thinking, what's the point? It's like, is it a comedy? Like, it's gonna be a comedy version of it? Why? It's another prequel. I'm not fussed, you know. I really absolutely see why they did it now, because it absolutely works in every way possible. So let's move on to the good, the bad, and the what the fucks. We already know what the fuck's gonna be. Multiple what the fucks. Firstly, we'll start on the good. And yeah, like I said, the small scale of the storytelling with just a narrow focus on just a few characters. For me, it was so much easier to follow. You've got Dunk, you've got Egg, and you've got the Knights. That's it. That just made it work so much easier. My old man watched it with me. My dad watched it, and he was like, I could tell he was following it. Whereas House of the Dragon, he was just like this. And again, even I was like, wait, is it House of the Dragon? Like you said, Luke, shorter is sometimes better, and this show absolutely proves that. Because you're not like, oh, there's a million characters all called Targaryen who are all related and look like each other. Oh, and here's some more kids we haven't seen before. Hey, let's throw in some time jumps as well and recast a whole bunch of them as well. And it's like, it's Dunk and Egg. That's all I need. That's all I need is Dunk and Egg.
I think this is also I came across like this realization when I was describing it to my mom, and I realized like this is also like the first Game of Thrones story that takes place in the same place. Like, it's just in one location.
Oh yeah.
Which is just like I only realized it as I was talking to my mom about it. I was like, oh yeah, because like Game of Thrones jumps about. Like House of the Dragon, like it still just follows one family, but it still jumps around Westeros. This is just one location, and that has never happened before in the Game of Thrones world.
Yeah, there's only that one time like backward where they go to Flea Bottom.
Yeah.
And then that's like the only scene that's rather than like him in the
The
tavern
flashback.
on the way
The
to
rapid flashbacks, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fitted in perfectly in terms of the storytelling with the voice.
And it really, the world building is done so well in this, because it keeps the main, like some of the core families that you know from Game of Thrones, like the Baratheons, like the Targaryens, and it throws in a couple other like lesser houses that you probably don't know from Game of Thrones, but not like so many of them that you're overly confused by them. And it just puts them all in one location, and then just go with it. You just, you just like go with it, enjoy it. This is the story. This is Dunk. This is Egg.
So let's talk Dunk and Egg. I mean, Peter Caffley and Dexter Sol Ansel was Dunk and Egg. Their bond on screen is adorable. I mean, Caffley, he's so good at playing the massive but naive Dunk to perfection. You know, he's a man with no confidence in anything other than his desire to be a knight, and that knights are honourable. When like you look around and most of them are utter shitheads who he ends up fighting. I guessed this. I didn't know it from the book, but when I was watching, I was like, yeah, Egg's definitely a Targaryen kid who's run away, right? That's why he shaved. That's why he's got no hair. And I was like, I mean, it's not the hardest thing to guess, right?
Yeah, his name is Egg. I mean, like Aegon. That's not a large reach.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't.
Neil, you almost had me going there, because sometimes you do have me worried.
I love how you can quite literally draw the family tree of everyone's relations from Game of Thrones, or even House of the Dragon, depending on where you want to go. To either Egg. I mean, I don't know how spoily that's going to get for like future stuff.
No, I mean, it's already out.
Yeah, so you can quite literally draw like the heritage lines to Egg, to obviously Lionel Baratheon, even to Duncan the Tall, who is a relative of Brianna Tarth somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So they like, I loved everything about it. I was really giddy about it.
Like Neil, like in the introduction, said less politics, but I actually completely disagree about that, because it is there. And for
Oh, yeah.
the people like me and David who like love to nerd out about this shit, like you can see it. Like you can see, like you can take this as it is, like just like a fun, in a way, buddy cop like genre, where it's just like a guy and his kid's sidekick. Or you can like literally read the lines and see, because like this is the beginning of the end for the Targaryen dynasty. Like this is like where things changed, and the entire path, like the path that we now know and from Game of Thrones so well, started in this moment. And like you can like read into that, or you can just enjoy it as it is like, obviously, like I'm very nerdy about this stuff, so every like little side comment and every little like jab that they had towards the other houses, I'm just like the fact that the Lannisters are still not very much in power, they're still like a joke during this time. So, and you're just thinking, just you wait, just you wait.
So I like Marie said, there was a lot of one-liners that like people that might not have read the books wouldn't like. The mention of like the Blackfire Rebellion, like one of the Blackfire Rebellions, and the just there's a few of those just thrown in constantly throughout. That it's for the like I mean, it's there for the fans of the book, right, and not for the fans of the show, or to build the world on a larger scale for you to then draw back on in a later season where that might be more relevant.
Like Summer Hall being mentioned quite a few times as well.
Yeah.
Like that means nothing, but to us it's like.
Talking about Summer Hall, has anyone seen the interview that Duncan Egg do on some chat show where Egg drops a little bit of a spoiler?
Oh, I saw a clip
a
of it.
larger spoiler that's not in like any written thing at the moment.
What, not written?
Not written. No.
No, I did not see
the
that.
guy looks at him and kind of gives him a look of like, just.
George Martin. He says something that George Martin tells him, and Peter Caff, like, he's there just like in this interview. Yeah.
And like, he's a kid,
he's
you
the
can't
new
blame
Tom
him.
Holland. That's cute.
He's so good, the kid, though, isn't he? I mean, like, he didn't have a lot to do early on, but then he gets better and better as the series goes on. I'm not saying he was bad in the early episodes. He was just, his standard kid who's run away, wants to be a squire. But, obviously with the big battle scene where he's like the Sir get up thing. Like, I was messaging you, David, like, not when as I was watching, I was like, it's Rocky, but like with Game of Thrones. And the second he gets knocked, and of course you're thinking, you're building up to this big battle, and I was like, and then they go into the flashback, and I was like, normally that would absolutely annoy the fuck out of me, but it didn't, because the flashback was so well done. You're just like, oh shit! And again, it was easy to follow. My dad was like, oh, so this is him in the past, right? I was like, yes, it is. I don't have to explain it to you. So
I loved how the two leads were, to me, completely unknown. I hadn't seen either of them in anything.
Yeah, no, I've seen him in bits and pieces. Like, his face looked familiar, but I think it's like a background character, never like the main one.
In fact, the majority of the cast were pretty unknown. I think I recognise Lionel Baratheon.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, from a few things.
But again, he's never been like the protagonist in anything. He's always been the bad guy.
So again, it's smart by the producers, right? You've got a cheap cast.
I was going to say smart, or at this point they have run out of British actors.
No.
Sam Spruill, who plays Maker, he's good. And like, he doesn't really come into it till the end, really. But I was just like, that's a good casting for a Targaryen.
And his best buddy, Raymond Fossaway. Poor sweet Raymond. Like, when we had that bit in the finale with his new wife, and I was like, okay. Yeah. And he's just like, Dunk clocks it. And I was like, Dunk, stop getting eye-fucked by your best friend's new wife. Like, she's going to be trouble in like upcoming seasons. You could just see it a mile away.
He's so naive. He looks like, Doug is looking at him like, he knows, he's not stupid. He goes, there's no way you're pregnant after sleeping one night. And he's just like, yeah, it's going to be a boy. And like, it's not yours, mate.
I love it so much. But that's the thing, like, for once, like, I mean, that's kind of the thing about Game of Thrones, but like, it is just so nice to have just like a nice Game of Thrones character. Like, one that you actually would like to hang out with or like be friends with.
There was no reason for him to genuinely be that nice. and friendly towards
Well,
Dunk.
I
Like
genuinely
really,
thought he
it
was
just
going to die. When he joined, I was like, that's it,
Oh.
he's dead. He's going to become a dog,
Yeah.
that's it, he's dead.
yeah. So I have read the novellas, and I forgot which ones did die. Obviously, I knew Baelor died, so obviously he's the big one. But the other ones, I forgot which ones. So I was the same, even though I'd read the novella. I was like, oh man, I really hope he doesn't die because he's so friendly and nice, and he's just such a lovable person. I just wanted to
I
give him
mean,
a cuddle.
that's the show's biggest strength for me. It's the humour and light-hearted touch to it. I mean, and yet it's still able to throw in a good few c words and fucks when needed. Lots of bodily functions. Let's talk bodily functions.
No, let's not.
So much
I was
shit,
eating.
vomit.
I think that might be in Marie's bad. So
Just.
I mean,
Ugh.
what I loved about it was the cut. As an editor, the cut was amazing because you're expecting this, with Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, you're expecting this big epic title sequence, and then it just quick flash to the title, and then back to him. Was he
He's
number
taking
one
a
or
sh-
number?
taking
It was
a
two.
shit.
It
He was
was
taking
two.
a shit.
think
How
it
can you
was
not
diarrhea.
remember?
Yeah.
Like it was
That
very
tree
obvious.
blocked nothing.
And then,
Those
like,
cuts work so well.
I
and
think
there were so many
I can see a lot of people though. So the issue with that is on episode 1, so early into episode 1, it sets an early tone, and I can see, and it wasn't that like kind of disgusting throughout, right?
No.
I can see a lot of people being like, that show's not for me after about whatever that was 5 minutes in.
I mean, for Thrones, it's still kind of tame. Like I mean, like when
I
I,
don't
like
think-
was
I
I
don't
was
remember that in any of the other Thrones.
I think what it did for me is it kind of, this story showed a peek into the life of the average person in Westeros, whereas like Game of Thrones, House of Dragons is still very high fantasy, whereas this is just like if you lived in a medieval world, you haven't got a toilet, you're gonna go shit outside, you're gonna piss outside in the river.
You like that tree?
Yeah, it's just what it is. So that's what I liked about it, was the fact of, it's a bit disgusting, but it's like, it makes sense.
Like the Kingsguard. Is there anywhere good to take a shit around here?
yeah.
No, not really.
So my next question is, do we all now prefer this to House of the Dragon?
I do. Personally.
I do.
I think I had more fun with this.
I definitely had more fun with this, but I wouldn't to be rank it on the same level, which is weird because it's Game of Thrones. But like as Luke said, House of the Dragon is high fantasy. I definitely prefer it to House of the Dragon season 2.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And maybe with House of the Dragon, my judgment is clouded because of Matt Smith. Like so.
And I suppose with House of the Dragon, I've always got in the back of my head, I know some of the really cool set pieces that are going to come.
Oh,
Like some of the really cool battles and stuff. Yeah, so you're like,
In
that's
6,
always
7
gonna be a
years.
draw. So you'll see how it goes, I suppose.
Also, like
it in
dragons
season
are just
3?
cool, man.
Yeah.
They are, but it's just like you say. We and like we all mentioned earlier, that it's just not fun. It's someone's died. Oh, vengeance, and you're like, where's the comedy? Where's the Tyrion character or anything remote?
Tyrion.
And not even just Tyrion. It was every character. had a
Oh,
funny
Neil, you're
moment.
doing my head in with the name Tyrion.
Tyrion.
It's a good thing we haven't done our Game of Thrones special yet.
Like they talk about the fact of like the dragons have gone. So as you mentioned earlier, it's the fact of this. I had to explain to my mum like the history of the timeline of like, okay, Egg is going to become this person, and he's going to have this kid, and this kid's going to lead to this person, and it was easy to follow. Whereas like with Game of Thrones or House of Dragon, you're like, okay, you got this guy, and maybe this guy, but it depends. This.
I mean, the
it's easy to
Targaryens
follow.
need to join the inbred support group.
Yeah.
Like it's
Need to jump over to Fallout.
Yeah.
trying to follow that family tree. It's yeah.
And like foreshadowing as well when they go through the gypsy woman and she looks at him and goes, you're bullshit. And he's looking like, why would you say that? And like Dunk's like, don't worry about it. But for those of us that know.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I was like, oh shit, which one is he again? What happens to? Do we know what happens to him? Because I couldn't remember at that point.
Yeah.
And have you got? I don't know if anyone else. Has anyone else watched the YouTube shorts now of every time Dunk and Aegon are mentioned in Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just gone back and had a look at everything.
Which to be honest, they're
That's
mentioned
cool, man.
quite a lot in Game of Thrones. I just never realised.
Yeah, and Aerion. Aerion's mentioned because Joffrey's talking to.
No, the other
I've
one,
forgotten her name.
not Sansa, the other lady.
Yeah. the Tyrell. What's her name? Oh my god, that's gonna
Marjorie.
Marjorie Tyrell. Yeah, Natalie Dormer. Yeah, in Baelor Sept, just saying, oh, and over there's where Targaryen is kept because he did a thing that was a bit stupid.
He thought he was a dragon.
Yeah.
So one of my other favourite bits of the season is when we finally get the theme kicking towards the end of episode 4, and it's just masterfully deployed. You've been now conditioned to, okay, there is no theme title, there is no music in the show. It's just boom, title, something funny, hard cut. It's when they start recruiting everyone, isn't it? It's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then the Game of Thrones music kicks in properly. And I was like literally sitting forward in my seat. I was like, it's like the Bone Temple again, David. I was like, yes, yes.
Other than Buffy, I think it's one of the most iconic themes of TV history.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so
up there.
good.
Whenever you see the HBO, you immediately just go.
Every single
doesn't-
time.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you're watching.
Yeah, like I
straight
expected
to
with
that,
The Last of Us. Like,
Yeah, even when I went back and watched Breaking Bad, and it was the same. Like,
yeah,
I'm thinking,
conditioned. I'm the same. There's like a term for that, what that means, but yeah.
So I briefly mentioned this a little bit earlier, and I almost put this bit in the bad, but then that was my bad because, like I said, we were so G'd up for the Trial of Seven to start, and then Tunk just gets, and to quote Aussie Man, gets sent to destination fucked immediately at the start of that fight. And I was just like, at first I wasn't sure that it was him. It was like, oh, but Dunk's. And then the second he was laying there, I was like, and then it's like, and cue the flashback. And I was like, no, the whole episode is going to be the fucking flashback. And then someone's going to yell something and he's going to rise up and then he's going to wake up. And then the last episode will be the full fight. But no, within half an hour, they still told a brilliant backstory. R.I.P. Rafe, we knew you so little time. That was like probably the harshest bit of the whole season, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, when he mentioned the helmet and he goes, "Oh, my brother hit me on the back of the head," I was like, "Don't move the helmet." Don't move the helmet. And as soon as he moved it, I was like, "Oh god."
That's what I liked about it. Like it like we said, like this is more funny and in a way a bit more lighthearted, but the stakes were still there. Something that was very much missing in later Game of Thrones. Like this, like characters getting fucked up. Like that's something that the later seasons did not have at all.
I also loved how like with that moment of his face, his back of his head getting carved in. So that only happened because he wasn't wearing his armor.
Yeah, he's wearing his son's armor.
Like he was wearing his son's armor, and it like even the conversations going in after that, the aftermath of it, where he's talking to Mika, who's like talking about the ghosts that you're going to hear and everything after this act. His son saying about the armor and like was it worth your life? I loved all the moral complications of it all, and the gods choosing. His arm and leg will be important, guys, whether it's worth Baelor's life still or not.
Dude, he was a walking kebab by the end of that episode. Like, I haven't seen anyone take as much punishment, I think, in Game of Thrones and still be alive afterwards. I mean, I loved it at the start of the final episode where him and, what's his name? Are up against a tree. And he's
Lionel
got the crap
Baratheon.
mace.
Yeah.
Lionel with him,
love
that's it.
Lionel.
And just, yeah, he's so charismatic, isn't he?
The laughing storm, Neil. He's the laughing storm.
Well, indeed. I just love the way he's got the crap maester, and the maester's like, puts his finger, gives him a jab, and then smells his finger. It's like, yeah, he's on his way, he's going to die. He's like, fuck off. And then he calls him the C word twice. And then it just gets better. He just slowly gets better. But that's what I liked is, you think how many times in Game of Thrones you've had these giant battle scenes, and then, like, cut to everyone's just getting on with the job the next day. Everyone was fucked in this episode. Like, everyone's staggering around, and like I was like, yes, there's consequences to what happens in this.
All Game of Thrones is all just stories, right? Stories of knights winning tourneys, stories of this person unhorsing this person, and it's all just like building the glamour of everything. But then there's nothing glamorous about it. So you've got all of that showmanship and glamour and the stories that they're telling, and they're told in Game of Thrones. So there's the Duncan egg, so Duncan the Tall is one of the stories that old Nan wants to tell Bran when he's in bed after he's just been pushed out the window. But there's just no glamour in the realism and the grittiness, and they weren't shy to show it as just a slop fest. There was nothing like heroic about that fight at all.
Just
it was
man,
two
like,
blokes
in the mud.
completely fucking shattered, like having this weighty armor on them, like proper just like swinging at each other without any real purpose to what they're doing.
I didn't know
It's
how they
just
could tell who was who, to be honest, because it got so,
Yeah, I
it
couldn't
was
at the
so
start.
foggy, and like if I was in that, I'm like, I'm just gonna hit anybody. I don't care who it is. You know, I can't see nothing. I've got
Right,
a visor
mental
and
note.
like that.
Don't get in a medieval reenactment with Luke. If
Yeah.
it's foggy that day.
It was so foggy. Like, don't get it for atmosphere and aesthetics, perfect. But like realistically, if you're in that fight, I don't know where I am. You know, I'm covered in mud. Somebody's hitting me. He's either on my team or he's not. You know, and that didn't.
You'd hope
happen
he's not on your
before,
team.
You know, so I'm just gonna hit everybody, and then hopefully the guy rings the bell before I do any damage.
But then it was so cool when he's just pounding the shit out of Arian, and then he like just dragged him up. He's like, "Do you?" I was like, "Oh yeah." But although the cut from the flashback where Sir Arlen's like, "Get up," and then it's to him on the, I was like, that was perfection. And like I said, half an hour episode, and you still had time to then show the rest of the fight and that fit the flashback in. It's in the writing and the way it's put together, but nothing feels rushed. Like when this show started, I was like, this whole season is going to be at this one location at this one tournament, and I'm absolutely fine with that because it was just a fun hangout show. Like I want to watch them walking around and like going to the puppet show and getting a flagon of cider. Yeah,
visiting
man,
the armorer, like just all of it. Yeah,
all the cool bits. All the cool bits with that if you're playing like an RPG game that you get to do enough fun in the game,
it's like
and you're
when you
getting
go
to watch it on screen.
It feels
to a
like it exists.
medieval festival.
Yeah,
And you're just at a
exactly.
medieval festival yourself,
Yeah.
like a reenactment festival, and it's like, oh, you just see all the details of it all.
That's my opening line, man. It's like Game of Thrones medieval reenactment weekend. Now, one other thing on the good, and this is very good, and it's kind of like a little bit for the future of the show, like you mentioned, David. I think they're already making season 2 at the moment. The rumor is it's going to be out next year because shorter episodes obviously don't take as long to make. And obviously, with the similar, I mean, again, I don't know, and I don't want you to spoil it for us, but whether things scale up more in the other novellas. But there are only 3 novellas in total. We've had the first one. One thing I've noticed is, and people have drawn a lot of attention to, is that George R.R. Martin is a lot more involved with the writing of this than he is with House of the Dragon. He was with House of the Dragon in season 1, and then they just started ignoring him. And then what surprise? Season 2 was a bit shit.
You'd think they'd learn from like the Game of Thrones.
That's
Right?
the
Wouldn't
thing,
you?
like because like
when
if
he's
they were
involved,
It's good.
it's good. Like
because that's the thing with Game of Thrones. It always has a good first season. Like it always has a good, strong first season, but then afterwards they just get like in a tiff and a tizzy with him, and he's no longer involved.
I think they've picked the right showrunner to work. I think the guy's name's Ira something, and I forget his surname. But I think he's clearly got a much better relationship with Martin than Ryan Condal had. Because it's funny because they're all credited as like exec producers on the show, but clearly that's like a vanity credit for Condal. Because I bet you like Martin would be nowhere near him after all the shit that went down on House of the Dragon season 2. But Martin has said he has shared outlines for 12 potential stories and has essentially provided a roadmap for the whole of Duncan Egg's lives. So you could get more than just the 3 novellas if the appetite for the show is still there.
I
I'm
don't know
very
about
excited
Marie and Luke, but out of the 3 novellas, the one we've just this season was
Mhm.
the one I remembered the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't read the novellas. George R.R. Martin's writing does not really click with me. I find him very difficult to read. So like I treat my Game of Thrones knowledge like a history book. So I'm like in the wikis,
So
like
does
reading
he.
all the
Yeah.
history and stuff like that. And that's kind of like how I know all this shit about the past. But yeah, just every time I've tried reading something like Thrones related, it just doesn't. His writing just does not click with me.
No, that's fair.
So what-
I know. I love the original books. I could not get on with House of the Dragon at all. I just stopped reading
Oh, that
it.
was
I
an
got
audiobook
bored.
for me.
I listened to that as an audiobook as well, and it's a really good audiobook.
Mm.
It wasn't as a fucking hardback, I'll tell you that much.
No. But
There was a good king, there was a bad king, there was a couple of bad kings.
I
Oh,
mean,
there's a
because
good
like
king.
the thing about George R. R. Martin, I mean, we can see this in he also is a very big fan of bodily functions and big
I was just
things
gonna say
swaying in
fart
the
joke.
wind. Like it's, I cannot deal with that.
I just think perhaps he just saw 28 years later and was like,
No. 28
yeah.
years later took inspiration from George R. R. Martin. I mean, it was like I've read sections where he's describing men's, and I'm like, oh Jesus.
I mean, and also some of the lines in the show. And again, this came from the convo near the tree at the start. And itchy arsehole is beyond your abilities was one of my favourites. I was cracking up at that. I was just playing it back, like laughing.
Cracking up, I like it now.
Oh,
Cracking up. Didn't even mend it. So of course, and we all kind of guessed where the ending was going to go, right? It's like I love that Dunk's like, no, I'm done with
I
Princess.
think you're the only one that didn't know going into it. So
No, he's clearly well. I mean, they did the post-credit scene, didn't they? Now, here's one thing I wasn't sure of, right? You know that we have the end shot with Dunk and Egg, and they're on their horses, and off they go, and then there's a third horse. Now, was that Raymond on Sweetfoot,
No.
or was it Ghost
was-
Arlen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arlen,
it was his master.
Yeah, I wasn't. Well, that's why I asked.
I quite
Don't
like that.
shame me.
For me, that was a brilliant conclusion to the series of like it just goes to show that Dunk is now his own man and that he's passing on his knowledge down and he's got his own squire and he no longer leads his old master. He's going on his own journey.
And I love the music as well. Like the last episode's music, jazz. We've got jazz in Game of
It begins
Thrones.
with jazz, it ends with jazz.
Yeah, I was like, wow, and it worked. And then the music as they're like riding off, it was like, it had such like Lord of the Rings vibes, didn't it? You know, like the happy kind of Hobbiton music. I was like, oh yeah, this is.
But this goes back to what David said. I've only read the first two novellas. I don't remember the second book at all. When you said, "Oh, we're going to Dawn," I was like, "Oh, yeah." Can't remember what happened. But the first book, I remembered a lot of this. Again, I don't remember who died and who didn't. But I don't know. If anything, it leaves me more excited for season 2 next year. Of like, I get to see what's happening in Dawn. Are they going to change things again? Like you said, Neil, is it going to be bigger, grander, or are they going to keep it smaller? Because the novellas are only small; they're not big, grand stories. They are very sort of.
I wonder, with Martin being so involved, whether he's gonna, and obviously like the success and how people have really responded to it, in critically and like the fans have really enjoyed it. I wonder whether he's gonna slightly change it a little bit. As long as he's producing good stuff, I don't care. Like at this point, I was like, okay, just keep making. If you want to make Dunk and Egg for the rest of your life now, George Martin, go ahead. I'm totally fine with it.
He's got books to finish, Neil.
What
are you talking about?
It's never gonna happen.
He has mentioned writing more Dunk and Egg stories or wanting to write more Dunk and Egg stories than the 3 he's done. I want him to finish other projects first.
With the 6 episodes per season thing, they're going to keep by apparently. The scale and the size of the show and the budget has to be a lot lower than the other shows, which means they can turn it around faster. So, like you say, the rumor is that we're going to get season 2 next year, and it's going to be a season a year of this, which is just awesome. Now, the showrunner, Ira Parker, I've got his name there now, I can see it. He said, they want to do all 3 books, and there's even a possibility of more Tales of Dunk and Egg because Martin is still doodling about with them instead of finishing The Winds of Winter. I said that, not Ira Martin, not to get him, create a whole Ryan Condal situation again. But Parker has even suggested he'd love to finish the next 2 books, then come back in 10 years to have the show and have the same actors continue the story with Egg at the appropriate age. I think we'd all love to. He's like, I'd love to do it. I don't know if they're going to go for it, but I was like, you would love that kind of long-term continuity.
I mean, that'd be awesome, but like with how actors' careers go these days and the scheduling conflicts and everything like that, yeah.
Line of Duty actually did it, where they brought a kid from the first series who's like a feral street kid, completely different shows, and then he's a cop in like the last series of the show, and they had the same actor play him. So when they did flashbacks, you're like, full-on Leo gif.
I just want to shout out just the battle and how it was shot, like the camera angles and stuff like that. That was just, again, it was peak cinematography. For me, like, obviously, I've made my feelings very clear of the later seasons of Game of Thrones, but Battle of the Bastards was still like peak Game of Thrones for me. I think that was like the last time it like hit its full peak, and this battle sequence was very reminiscent of Battle of the Bastards for me. Like how like the low camera angle, like the view of the protagonist, and
we were
running
in the mud with them, weren't we?
Exactly, the mud through it. But like it's funny because like Luke mentioned the fog earlier, and I did find the fog a little funny because I only ever worked on one film, and one time my job was to fog up the room. So it was like a fog machine,
Fog wrangler.
and like a piece of cardboard as we were wafting the fog. And I just had that image during the battle of someone standing at the side of the like the mud, just wafting the fog, because that is a job on film sets.
See, AI can't take all the jobs. You need a fog wafter.
With a piece of cardboard.
It really ruins the tension. You know, you've got that epic battle going on, and then off camera, you've got a guy going.
Just
I
look
mean,
at
I
his
could have
watch.
CG'd the
Jesus.
fog in, but it looked really like there are other ways. But it was like, yeah.
The puppet scene, the puppet show that they put together.
Oh, yeah, we
That was a
haven't talked about the
good-ass
puppets.
puppet
That
show.
was really good, yeah. And then the conflict that started the whole fight scene altogether. Arian as a character, I think, was really well done for somebody that had very little screen time.
Mm.
Like, he's not in the show really at all. Like, minutes wise, he's probably only in it for like 15 minutes or less than 15 minutes, probably the entire show.
It's like, I need to be a real dickhead Targaryen, right? Gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
Action.
I landed on the bad half of the coin. Yeah,
I was
I
like,
know.
did anybody notice again? Maybe it was just me, but how the girl who was doing the puppet show, her name is Tansley, I think, the one that Dunk kind of gets a bit of a fancy for. She looks very familiar to the young girl that he knew, Rafe. And I don't know if that was
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a callback, kind of fact of like that's why
Probably.
he was so
I
nasty.
think
probably-
it was on purpose. Like he has a type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was so protective over her, but he hardly knew her. You know what I mean? But when I watched the last episode and I thought back, I was like, oh my god, that is why he was so protective, because she looked the same. She and maybe he saw a bit of her in her, and she did say, weren't she going to Dawn? So maybe we'll see her again. I think that's what he said. I can't remember, but she travelled off when she painted his shield.
That was a good ass shield as well, man.
Um,
David, get a shield.
I
I'll
don't
be
know-
on the.
I don't know how good
Of
it
course
was,
you do.
'cause it kind of splintered.
Look,
Oh my god, get your shield
what's
out. Oh, there
that?
it is.
There's my
That's nice.
shield.
No, I mean your own house shield.
Oh, the Long of Cockfoster's shield. Gotcha.
Oh god. Can't
Oh,
show that
God.
on YouTube.
Yeah, I forgot.
I think we saw that in episode 2, didn't we?
Yeah.
So,
I just want to shout out the costuming and obviously the hair department and the makeup department. I've been watching, like the behind the scenes that they always put out. It's also really funny because like in the past it's always one per episode, but because they're too short, they like combined them all in one. But like them talking about like how they like improve like the Targaryen looks over the years, where they're like trying to like update them to like modern society where there's no longer the long hair and the braids and stuff like that. I thought that was like really interesting. And then like a touch that I just really love, because like I've talked about this like always, and that's one thing why I hate the last season of Game of Thrones, is because everyone just fucking gave up and the effort was gone. And here like the costume designer was saying that how they gave Baelior Targaryen heterochromia. One eye was different to the other, and his son had it too, and that's how they linked the two characters together. And the costume designer full on went, yeah, I don't think anyone will notice, but it's a nice touch that we include it. And I was just like, that is what I love, like including these like little details that like father and son have like the same genetic eye conditioning, because like Baelor looks more like his mother, who's from Dawn, so he doesn't look like a typical Targaryen, but he has that heterochromia that his son has, and then his son is dark haired but has that white streak across his hair. And it's just all these like little details of like storytelling and how they built this world.
did you see the little clip that I think I maybe saw it yesterday or today with Dexter running around pretending to be the makeup artist with the blonde wig on?
No,
And he's going,
oh,
and,
I didn't see that.
and they're going, sorry, what's your name? And he goes, oh, my name. And he's like got a fake name and everything. And he's like completely, and you see how good an actor the kid is, because he's suddenly playing a camp artist. And he's like, no, and he goes, last looks. And he's like going off with the paintbrush. And he literally walks up to and he does like the last bit of makeup on Dunk. I was like, oh, awesome.
With the Targaryen look as well, obviously there's the dark-haired Targaryens that are coming into it, because I think the granddad of Egg has married a Martell.
Yeah, someone from Dawn.
Yeah. So, hence the dark-haired Targaryens, if anyone was wondering why they've got dark hair.
Thank you, Sir David. Moving on to the bad. Well, I think we can skip it because I don't think I tried. Oh, Marie's got something.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
go.
I got a bad. Like, I don't know if you want to introduce it more, but I do.
Marie, tell us about your bad.
So I'm surprised you didn't see this coming, Neil, because this is just
The poo, the penis.
no, this is a pet peeve that I've had with Hollywood for the longest fucking time, and it's drove me like it didn't like drive me so crazy that ruined the show for me, but it's getting irritating, and that's the fact that everyone has fucking perfect teeth. You're in this gritty world where everyone's covered in mud and shit, and they just have perfect pearly whites.
Well,
And
my
it
bad's
drives
like that,
me
yeah.
up the fucking wall. Like, at least, like, throw some mud in it or something. Like, Lionel Baratheon, I know he's a lord, but he has veneers. Like, that is not okay. Like,
I literally thought you was going to say it's because Raymond, Lionel, and Dunk didn't have a drunken freeway.
oh, no, to be honest, that is also on my list. Like, Lionel Baratheon, clearly gay. And
Yes.
if Dunk
bi,
would have
very.
gone with him, like, he should have gone with him because, like, he was like, I will love you like a brother. And I'm like, nah, it's got to be more like a brother. Like, it clearly would have gotten gay. So, I am upset about that.
To be honest, my bad's kind of the same as Marie's. Where, you know,
Teeth.
well-
Teeth or gay?
Well, no, not that. Like Marie said about the teeth. So in the end, then not the last episode, so the second to last episode, don't get stabbed in the leg in the calf, right? And somehow he doesn't get sepsis. He's covered in shit. He's covered in mud. Again, this means being picky. And he manages to hobble all his way over and follow him over hills and all the way, and doesn't die or doesn't get seriously ill. I know it's a little bit of a nitpick, but I'm like, that went deep. That spear went right into his leg. And in a world with no real proper medicine, with like and mud and crap everywhere, how did
With
he
this
not?
guy.
Yeah, you know,
The
what I mean?
gods spoke favorably upon him, Luke.
Maybe. I know it's a little nitpick, but that was the only thing it shows you have to properly nitpick with this show is because everything's brilliant that you have to that little bit or that tiny bit.
Yeah, I agree with you, Luke. It did occur to me as well. Like, it did bother me because, like, he got stabbed in the mud, and it's
Yeah,
that
and
mud must have
he
not
was fine.
just been mud. Like, yeah,
That was poop. Poop mud.
yeah, definitely.
You
I
know,
mean, there was a
David.
pig right next to him. Like,
Do you have any bads?
I wasn't the biggest fan of Mika's introduction scene. I felt like his character was a bit more like, I don't know, just the acting in that scene just felt a bit off to me initially, where he's just like, what the fuck's a trial of 7? And like, I don't know, just that whole scene, I don't know, it just felt a bit weird. It felt a bit, didn't vibe well with what everything else was.
See, I just had to try and nitpick again. Like, look, I couldn't really. My first, I'm really nitpicking, and like, I thought that they went with classic Game of Thrones in the second to last episode was probably the best one of the season, and then the last episode's like the quiet, reflective one. But then it had to be because people died and everyone was fucked, so it couldn't really be like they couldn't be like. Part of me was like, oh, I want to see them kind of like partying in the taverns and celebrating their victories, but no, people are dead and they're absolutely almost on the verge of death. Some of these people, so I got it, and I was really happy with it. It was more a me problem than a problem with the show. Like, there was nothing really wrong with it.
It's not really a bad, but I did after every episode, I wanted it to be longer. I know it's a good thing that it was only 30 minutes.
It's a good bad.
But yeah, it's a good bad. I was like, after every time, I was like, oh, I'm gutted that's ended. I was really enjoying that show.
but you watched it weekly, didn't you?
So I watched the first 4 back like straight away because I was waiting for him to sort of build up, and then I couldn't wait any longer.
Yeah, because I binged
then
it
it
all in one
became-
go.
But it's the first show in forever that's became like, I think since Severance, where it became like, I've got to watch this. I've got, like, when this comes out Monday, I've got to watch it on Monday.
And with it being short, it was easy to fit in.
Yeah. Did anybody find it weird that this was hardly advertised? Like, I found out that it came out by accident. Like, I didn't know it came out.
I've seen billboards on like bus stops and stuff like that walking
I
around
hadn't
for
seen
it.
anything
I
anywhere.
And
haven't,
Sky-
yeah.
And I've seen it advertised quite a few times during the football on
Yeah,
Sky.
if you've been
So-
watching like anything on Sky, like HBO stuff or anything like that, yeah.
Right, this brings us on to the what the fuck, and I'm not really sure here because I think we've basically mentioned everything, to be fair.
Alpha Dong.
Bar the bodily fluids and Sir Arlen's giant Arlen. Marie, what was your what the fuck moment from the series?
That was good.
It can be good,
Yeah.
it can be bad.
No, the
it
show was good.
It was good. Gotcha.
Like that's the thing. Like I mean, we spoke to this at the beginning, but I mean, like this is like obviously a credit to like the world that George R. R. Martin has created, because like we've all said at the beginning, like, oh, another Game of Thrones show, another prequel. Are we really interested in that? But because of course the world is so engaging and rich, and all these like pawns are there, like you can like jump back in. But to be honest, like I think the prequels is a lot smarter than doing the sequels, because like this, like I think takes place like smack dab in the middle of House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones. It's like kind of like at the midway
It's like
point.
100 years before Game of Thrones, isn't it? I think.
90.
What's 10 years in millenniums, Marie? Come on.
But yeah, so you can like dive in, because like I think because when Game of Thrones ended, there was like all this talk about all the different series and spin-offs that they were planning, and no one was excited about this. I think no one wanted a Jon Snow show. Like everyone was so happy when that finally got like confirmed that it was
Yeah.
cancelled.
What's he going to do? Be just grim up north in the snow? Great. That's a show I want to watch.
Yeah. No. So I think like the prequels is smart because it hasn't been tainted by the like final 3 seasons of Game of Thrones.
3?
Two.
Two. The last two
Last
seasons for
two.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
but
do
it's
this
borderline.
rewatch at some point.
Like
Well, with the Jon Snow show though, and you're saying like you don't want to watch him be grim up north, they were the best Jon Snow seasons.
Well,
Him being grim up
but
north,
not a
like,
whole show of it.
I mean,
Well,
but that's
what's
again
there? That's the
George
thing.
R. R. Martin's writing. Like
yeah, what
Yeah,
story
exactly.
is there to tell? I
You know.
suppose is the
Yeah.
question with it.
David, what was your what the fuck moment?
A Knight of the Nine Kingdoms, not 7, and then that like little reveal, because everyone in that instance is Dunk, being like, "What the fuck? There's 7 kingdoms. What the fuck are you talking about?" And then when he reels off all 9 kingdoms, yeah, that was a fun what the fuck. Like, you're like, what the fuck? There are 9 kingdoms. Because there's the 2 that have come since the Targaryens come. Aegon's conquest is of 7 kingdoms, but then since the Targaryens have been ruling, the Crown Lands and the Iron Islands have become a thing.
Name them all now, David. Go. No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry.
The Crown Lands, the Stormlands, the Ale, North, Iron Islands, the Vale. Did I say the Vale? Dawn.
Yeah.
Where am I at? I've forgotten. I've lost count.
6.
3 more.
But I've already forgotten what they were, so yeah.
Oh yeah, fuck it, I've lost it.
Anyway,
the Riverlands.
Luke.
I don't
Luke.
think I mentioned that one.
That gets you up to 7. Luke, what is your what the fuck moment from the series?
It's a good one. That the show was grounded, and it was short, but it worked. Like I was a bit apprehensive, going only 8 episodes, or again because I've been conditioned of how Game of Thrones is and how House of Dragons is. So you've got a long-winded, almost hour and a half episodes. But with this, I was actually genuinely surprised. Oh shit, this is actually really good. It's short, it's grounded, it's, I hate to use the word, but realistic, in a certain way, and it just felt like this is good storytelling. Like this is what I've been missing for years. Of like House of the Dragon, it was first season good, second season a bit a Game of Thrones, same thing. First few seasons brilliant, then it went so to go back to just classic like medieval fantasy in one location with a set amount of characters, they're all brilliant acted, all brilliant characters. I love Lionel. I think he's one of my favorites. Dunk and Egg, brilliant. And then how it ends, where like you just realize that like Egg had lied to Dunk again, and then they go off, and then you got his dad being like, "Where is he? Fuck's sake, he's ran off again."
Now, that was the most predictable end credit scene ever, was it? He's like, of
absolutely.
course he has.
Just on what Luke and Marie have said about it, just it being a good show. For me, it brought back that feeling of first watching Game of Thrones, and you feel like it's a show that's almost just for you, and it's like you've discovered this, and nobody else is really watching it or talking about it, and that joy of having the show that you've sort of that you're watching and enjoying for what it,
Yeah,
and it
Dude,
just feels
it's
like
so
it's for you. Yeah, like-
David, if you was on Threads, that's all anyone is talking about is how awesome the show is. So it is being talked about on socials a lot Like, people are loving it.
It just felt like it was for me. Like, when you first I don't know, when I first watched Game of Thrones, it felt like I was the only person in the world watching it.
Yeah.
To begin
And the
with.
other 7 million people weekly.
And it brought that feeling back.
Nice. My what the fuck is not like a general how great it is overall thing. It was literally just basically from a scene. It was the brutalness of the alleyway scene and like the killing of Rafe, because I was like, oh, I wonder if we're going to get more flashbacks seeing him grow up as the show goes. No. And it was just so brutal. She's like laying there bleeding out, like throat cut. I was like, And just that, it was almost like, the classic Daredevil hallway scene fight. It was all took place in that really crowded alleyway, so there wasn't enough room for everyone to kind of go. And again, like you mentioned, how well it was directed and the cinematography was done and the fight choreography. And in that scene, I was just like, yeah, this is the shit. This is, oh, fuck, that's horrific.
It makes me question if Arlen, his master, was genuinely, I hate to use the word, but was generally an actual knight, or he was just somebody he's like a drunken master sort of thing, who was like, he's fell on hard times, he's traveling rough because no one takes him seriously, but sort of Duncan being sort of a young, impressionable child coming from nothing, he's going to believe every single thing that Arlen told him, because when Dunk goes to the Tawny and says, and people are like, I don't know who you're talking about. Who's this bloke that you're talking about? He's like, oh, no, you knew him, right? You told me you knew him. I don't know who you're talking about. So seeing that and seeing him being drunk, and then obviously episode 2, he's going around sleeping and doing all this kind of stuff. I'm thinking, was he the person that Dunk thought he was, or was he not? And I like that.
Do you think we'll ever see more flashbacks of him, or was that him done?
So, because obviously there's more, because you've got to see him grow up, haven't you? So I'd like to see more of him. Like,
it's possible.
Did he actually teach him how to fight? Because it didn't feel like he did, because he sucked.
He was terrible.
You know what I mean?
I think like what Luke said though at the end of the show, where you see Arlen sort of walk off. That to me might symbol that we're not seeing, that we might not go back and see much more of him in the next season. But
yeah, because the show started and ended where it started.
It would
and
be
ended.
a shame because
tree.
everyone needs to see it again. We need one more scene.
Oh, Jesus, sweet Jesus.
I think. Oh no! Now I finally
you know
realized what you were talking about, David.
And on that, as expected, note from David, there we have it. That brings us to the end of our muddy, sweary, dong-obsessed journey through season 1 of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. And I didn't even call Jose once. Well, I'd like to thank my fellow knights today. Sir David, where can people find you on the socials?
They can find me on Instagram at We Needed Roads. And you can also find me on Blue Sky at long.d at Blue Sky.
And Sir Marie, who in the course of the episode has gone from being Lady Marie, started a revolution and is now Sir Marie of Taft.
I can knight you, Marie. A knight can make a knight.
We've got 3 swords, so job done.
Glad to know someone on this pod isn't sexist.
My God, I changed it twice. On the fly.
Anyway,
Didn't even stick to the script.
You can find me under the channel Life on Mars. That is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And yes, I am still restricted on TikTok. I don't think I'm ever going to win that battle.
This is like a year now. It's got to be a year.
It's breaking, like as I said, it's going against their own community guidelines. Like, there's no reason for it.
Stop annoying China, Marie. That's all I need to say. Sir Luke, where can people find you?
You can find me at the Howdy Beans podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and all podcasting platforms now, Spotify, Apple, and I think Amazon as well. I'm also on the Alexa, so if you go to your Alexa, the Howdy Beans podcast, the Alexa will bring me up. So yeah, I'm here and everywhere.
Including the Forbes magazine, Luke.
I was in Forbes magazine
yeah.
as
well. Yeah, let's go
That's
ahead.
a long story.
You've got 15 seconds.
Well, it all started. I was born. No, yeah, but I am on Forbes magazine. I'm only in a small section, but I'm there with my.
It's awesome, though.
It is.
I still
man.
can't believe it.
Congrats.
I'm still in
Golf
shock.
clap for Luke. Golf
Thank
clap
you.
for Luke, everyone.
Thank you.
Right, and if you want more We Needed Roads nonsense, you can find us everywhere. We're on Twitter at Needed Roads, Instagram at We Needed Roads, and TikTok at We Needed Roads Podcast. And you can follow me personally at Neil_Gregory78 on Instagram and Threads. And Threads, people, get on Threads. It's so much fun. I'm loving Threads of all the socials at the minute. We Needed Roads is available on all major podcast platforms. We'd love it if you subscribe to us on YouTube and gave us a follow on Spotify, where you can see the full video episodes as well as hear us. And on this one, you can see David's sword, not euphemism. And don't forget to tell us, are you loving this smaller, more character-driven corner of the world that's lighter in tone and fun? Or are you sitting there stony-faced yelling Game of Thrones shows should be serious and where's the fucking dragons and incest? Until next time, keep your sword sharp, your takes hotter than wildfire, and remember, we needed roads.
We Needed Roads.
What do you